Question number 2. A healthcare provider has prescribed ondansetron or ondansetron HCl 24 milligrams orally daily in divided doses every 8 hours. How many milliliters will the nurse give per dose? All right, another kind of wordy one, but here we go. So we know that the provider is giving 24 milligrams orally daily. That's going to be our total amount for the whole day. It's going to be given every 8 hours. So that is helpful information. So they're getting 24 milligrams total, and that's going to be administered every 8 hours. So we're going to have to be figuring out how many doses a day that will be in order to figure out the question, which is how many mils, our final unit, will the nurse give per dose. So kind of a lot of information here. And we're just going to get started and figure out where we need to go from there. So ultimately, I know that I am looking to figure out how many mils are going to be given so that we have 24 milligrams total, which is administered every 8 hours, which is confusing. But if we break it down, we know that every day there's 24 hours, right? And if we're giving it every 8 hours, we're giving 3 total doses, right? We can just work that out in our heads, no problem. Which means that eventually we're going to have to divide by 3 when we get our final answer. So we're going to hold that in the back of our heads for the time being. So getting into the label, we have our medication, which is Zofran, which is an antiemetic. And that is ondansetron hydrochloride, which is an oral solution. It is given as a liquid. So we are given our concentration, which is right here, 4 milligrams per 5 milliliters. And that is enough information for us to get going because we have our total order, which is at the top. We have our concentration. Now we can go ahead and do our problem. So we know, again, start with what you are looking for. We are looking for milliliters. That means our answer is going to be in milliliters. And at the top of our first conversion factor, we're going to have milliliters. We're going to get that from our concentration. So if we look up, we have our concentration, 4 milligrams per milliliter. At the top, we're going to have our 5 milliliters. That's because we want our milliliters at the top, so we don't cancel it out. And then we have 4 milligrams at the bottom. That is the information that we are given. And that's great. So when we set up our next conversion, we're going to have milligrams at the top to cancel out the milligrams at the bottom over here. And in our order, we have 24 milligrams total. And that's in the dose. That's just over 1. And that's going to be equal to, let me grab my nifty little calculator. 5 times 24 is 120. That's going to be divided by 4. And again, these have been canceled out, as we know. We have our milliliters at the end. 120 divided by 4 equals 30 mils. Is that the final answer? The answer is no, because we are finding how many milligrams are being given per dose. This is currently the total volume per day that they're going to be receiving. So if they were getting 1 dose of 24 milligrams, they'd be getting 30 milliliters administered. However, we know that it's being divided to every 8 hours, which means that we're giving 3 total doses. So to move on from that, we're going to go over here. We have our 30 mils. We have our 3 doses. 30 divided by 3 is 10 milliliters per dose. Does it need to be rounded? The answer is no. So our final answer is going to be 10 milliliters. Does this make sense? Again, 10 milliliters, that's like a standard syringe that you might see for a regular injection or whatever. And it's not abnormal. If we had gotten 10,000 milliliters, that would be 10 liters. That would be 5 2 liters of Coke. Which is a lot and probably inappropriate. 10 milliliters makes sense from a volume perspective. So we can move on comfortably knowing that we have achieved the correct answer.